you. I'll get that started. You should see a notification on your screens, and you can just tap on it and it will disappear. Right, so welcome to today's webinar. My name is Melissa Abache. I am the Director of International Student Recruitment here at Koç University in Istanbul, Turkey. I'm very excited because today we're not talking about admissions, we're not talking about specific programs. We do that a lot, and you will see on our website upcoming events where we will talk in more detail about how to apply to our undergraduate programs, how to prepare the best application that you can. We will do some webinars about specific programs. For example, we have an upcoming webinar about our medicine program, which I know a lot of you are interested in. But today is different. Today we want to share some of the things that our students learn about in their first semester here at Koç University. Before that, I'm just going to give you a very, very brief overview about our institution that we're so proud of, to also help you understand who we are and whether this can be a good fit for you in terms of your university choices. So to get started, let me just move here. Right. So Koç University is a young university. We were set up in 1993, and we're a private foundation university. In Turkey, we have public or state universities, which are funded by the government, and we have private universities that have to operate as non-profit organizations. That is the case of our university. We're funded by the Baby Koç Foundation, which is one of the largest philanthropic organizations in Turkey. And they work in the areas of education, culture, and and health. So Koç University was, as I said, set up in 1993. This year is our 30th anniversary. We are a small to medium-sized university in the context of Turkey. We have now reached just over 8,000 students across our undergraduate and graduate programs. So the majority of those students are undergraduates. And we're very proud that from at the end of last year, we reached a milestone in our university's history, which is that for the first time, 10% of our student body is made up of international students who are coming from countries that are not Turkey, around 80 plus countries. The thing that makes us special and I think unique in Turkey really is the quality of our faculty members and staff as well, but especially of our professors, whether that's professors, associate professors, assistant professors, and instructors, because they're coming from the best institutions from around the world, having received extensive training and teaching experience and research experience at the top institutions worldwide. We try to match those professors with small groups of students. So that's why our faculty student ratio is very low. So that ensures a very good quality of education when it comes to classroom teaching and supervision of students. We are structured very similar to an American university. So we have 7 colleges where we offer 22 undergraduate programs. All of those programs are typically 4 years, with the exception of medicine, which is a bit longer, 6 years. And across all of those programs, the medium of instruction is English, with the exception of our law program. And for medicine and for nursing, there is a requirement for students to learn Turkish after they have started the program, because they do have clinical practical courses. We are a research-intensive university, so we invest a lot of resources in terms of providing the right and most up-to-date or cutting-edge technology and equipment and resources to our professors and to our students. We have a very large number of research laboratories as well as research centers across all disciplines that are offered in the university. And in terms of diversity, earlier I was talking about our student body. One thing we're very proud is that in the last cohort, which was in fall 2022, 70% of our admitted international students receive some type of merit scholarship to support their studies at Koç University. So this is something that we're very proud of, because not all universities are able to offer this to international students. Here you can see very briefly what are the undergraduate programs that we offer in each of those 7 colleges that I mentioned before. And of course, you can find all information about each of them in terms of the curriculum, the professors, the practical activities, the research labs, everything you want to know about the programs. It's available in our university website, and you can reach them through our international admissions website. I will put all of the details about this at the end of today's presentation. Finally, and the reason why we're here today is when you are starting university in your first year at university, not only at Koç, it's a very important time in your life because it's a period of transition. And our speaker today, which I will introduce briefly, is going to talk at length about this. At Koç University specifically, there are several things that kind of happen or that are options for you as a student. So when you join Koç University in your first semester, first, you are paired with an international student who is going to be your buddy. That person is going to be there to help you navigate how to select courses, how to do some practical things in our student information system. Where do you find this? Where do you go to eat for that? And things like that. But you will also have an academic advisor, which is a professor, a faculty member at the university. And there's going to be a series of orientation courses and seminars, which are under the umbrella of a course which is called Univ 101. There is also another course, and our speaker today, Ms. Pınar Özbek, she can tell you more about this. It's our academic and life skills course. This is a very important course in the first year. A lot of the international students have told us that they really enjoyed taking part in this course because first it's where they met a lot of their friends that continue throughout their university years. And also because it really is full of very practical things that will help you not only in university, but also after you graduate. Of course, then you will enroll in some courses, which are some of them related to your undergraduate major, but a lot of them are going to be part of the core program. We have a section on our website where we explain what is the core program, how it benefits you as a student in comparison to attending universities where you go straight into your undergraduate major, and what are the different course offerings. Another thing is that during that first year, especially in the first semester, you get a chance to meet some of the 80 student clubs, sport teams, fitness groups that we have at the university, and decide which ones you want to join as a member, which ones you just want to try and maybe drop later if you really don't like it. So there will be opportunities for that. You can, if you want, also start meeting with our Career Development Center colleagues to start designing the dream career that you would like to have after you finish those 4 years of studies at the university. And you may think it's a bit early, but actually it's not, and they will explain why once you start. There's also the option of starting to attend some of our Office of Learning and Teaching tutoring sessions and workshops and other guidance activities that they have also related to academic skills and how to make the most of the time that you have to study and learn in the best way possible. And if you want, you can also start to learn or improve your Turkish language skills because we offer elective courses that you can join, but also more informal conversational type activities through the services that are provided by the International Community Services Office. So that's kind of, a glimpse of what happens in the first year. This is the kind of, let's say, the structure way. There's a lot of other things that are not reflected here that our speaker today is going to talk about. So to introduce her now, let's see here. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask Ms. Pınar. Hello, hi. To say hi. So I really want to introduce you properly because you are truly a gem of this institution. And we really are very lucky to have you and your time and your experience and wisdom to our participants today. So Ms. Pınar, she is one of the instructors and the coordinator of our academic and life skills ALICE program. It's not just a course, it's a whole program at Koç University. And she has been a part of Koç University since 2011, so some time now. She earned her bachelor's degree at Boğaziçi or Bosphorus University here in Turkey. And then she earned her master's and master's of education in psychological counseling at Columbia University in the US with a Fulbright scholarship. So of course, a very bright person to have achieved this. She's also a published author. She co-authored a book entitled University and Beyond, Life Skills for Young Adults, which is a manual for life skills instructors, as well as a self-help guide for college students. So if you want, you can also check out her book if it's available. Maybe you can tell us where they can find it as well. She's a member of the Wellbeing, Innovation, and Social Change in Education Network, which I know it's a very long name, but I think they are doing some great things. So as part of that, she offers educational workshops on topics such as well-being, psychological resilience, stress management, time management, communication, and intercultural competence. All of the things that we see every day that employers are looking for in recent graduates when they're joining the workforce, and in people who are trying to, change careers. So these are all key skills that everyone today needs to have. And very interesting, she's also a performing artist. So she's also the instructor of our ballet course, which is a course you can take at Koç University, regardless of your major. You can check our ballet course on Instagram. I didn't put the address on our slide, but if you check Koç University ballet, I think you will find it. And again, a course that we get great feedback from the participants as a great way to balance the very rigorous academic kind of requirements in a semester with this also rigorous, but at the same time fun activity to do. So with that, I would like to ask Ms. Pınar to say hello, and we're going to get started. So the idea for today is that we're going to be learning some skills and strategies on how to make that transition from high school life and mindset into university life and mindset in the best way possible. It will never be perfect. That's what we have learned so far, but there are ways to make it easier. So thank you so much, Pınar, for joining us today.
Of course, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you very much. I feel humbled and very happy to meet Ashwak, Blanca, Mutia, Nada, Perihan, Tülin, and Zanya today. I'm sure more will watch us later, so hello to them as well. So let me share my slide and tell you a little bit about the program that you will be introduced to when you join us, if you join us at Koç. So let's see. Can you see my full screen right now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Fine. Okay, great. So the program that I am primarily teaching in is called Academic and Life Skills, as Melissa mentioned. It has introductory level courses that help students transition from high school to college, as well as advanced courses that help students transition from college to professional life. So the first course is a mandatory course, and I feel very, very privileged to have been teaching the course to international students over the past few years now. As Melissa said, the international student body is increasing and increasing, and our university is becoming more and more diverse, which is really a big enrichment, I think, for our community. So the course aims to help you develop the skills that you would need to reconcile your own needs, desires for the future, and the expectations of the larger community around you. And we also added a new component to the course recently, where we focus more on diversity, cross-cultural competence, issues around sustainability, psychological resilience, among others. So it's a course that evolves over time, but we make it evolve based on the needs of every student cohort that changes. This program has been in place for 12, 13 years now. So every year we look at student needs and adjust them accordingly. For example, we recently, due to the pandemic, we introduced more psychological resilience content with the current difficult situation we're undergoing in Turkey about the earthquake, we again introduced how to, trauma-related content, etc. So everyone who's teaching a course has received a formal training in psychology. We're not the students psychologists per se, but it's an applied psychology course, and being a psychologist help us deliver the content in a more effective way. So the skills that are focused on are time management, stress management, communication, leadership, team membership, goal setting, all skills that we need not only for college life, but for personal life, for our relationships, and for our life beyond college. The course is a 1-credit course that you would be taking in your first or second semester at Koç. And it's mostly based on experiential learning. So we learn by doing and self-reflection. So I hope we get to introduce that to you. ALICE 200 is a sequel to ALICE 100, where we talk about applied life skills. So we broaden the topics that are discussed here and add new ones, such as emotional awareness. And that's an elective for those who love ALICE 100 and would like to continue their journey of self-reflection. ALICE 350 is a transition to professional life course. It's again an applied course, but more rigorous, and students can take it as an elective in their 3rd or 4th year of college. And there we help students build project management, conflict management, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, the ability to work in a team, in a project, problem solving, decision making, all the skills that you would need, whatever profession you pursue in whatever country. That again is based on a lot on self-reflection and experiences. ALICE 360 is called New Generation Leadership and Transformation. It discusses newer trends in leadership, such as shared leadership, intrinsic motivation as opposed to extrinsic motivation or punishment or reward in the work life, making workplaces psychologically safe, etc. Again, very much based on discussion. There's some contact with the business world about how these leadership trends are in action in the actual business world in Turkey. That's our course repertoire. So it's a transition. Academic and life skills courses are very much based on transitions. So today I will talk about transitioning from high school to university. So you transition to a number of things at this turning point in your life. You transition from being an adolescent slowly to becoming an adult. So that's a life stage turning point. You transition from one type of education, one level of educational system, the secondary education, to higher education. That's another change. And for you specifically, it would be a new country, perhaps a new language as you join Koç University. So let's brainstorm about what will be different. What kind of differences do you expect to see in college? What do you expect to be same as high school? What do you expect to be different from high school? So why don't you put in the chat box your thoughts about these? Thank you. What's going to be the same? What's going to be different? I would love to hear from you. Let's see what you envision college to be like. Okay, well, let me give you some ideas about it, and maybe if different things come to your mind, you can share it with us. So in high school, you would probably be a good student in your class to be able to be admitted in a university like Koç. And then you come to the university and everyone is very well, everyone is a good achiever. So you are probably the star in your high school to come into Koç or other top tier universities, and then you come in, but then you see everyone is like that. So that would be a shock for many when they come to college. It happened to me when I went to grad school. So I went, as Melissa said, I went to Columbia University in New York, and I was very, very surprised to see when people would be very unhappy when they get an A minus. A minus is a great grade in my world, but then there everybody is even more high achiever than I am. So I would be very surprised to see, wow, this is quite a competition. So that is one challenge that might be awaiting you. So in high school, typically you have a set condensed schedule where the courses that you're going to go into are defined. You go into class around the same time of the day, every day, and then leave at the same time. And you don't have much control over which courses you're going to be taking. There are exceptions, but typically high school, people define your schedule for you. In university, like ours, following the American liberal arts system, the schedule is self-made. You decide what course you're going to take at what time. You determine which instructor's course you will take, which section of the course you will take, when you will take it. Of course, there's a recommended curriculum per semester, but then you have some flexibility. And your schedule is dispersed. One day you start at 8:30, the other day you start at 2:30, and there's a lot of time in between classes where you may not know what to do when you first come to the university. In high school, typically courses are required. You can't just not take a course, or you can't take one course instead of the other, whereas in the university, there are required courses that all computer engineering students have to take, for example, but also there are elective courses. When I went to college, I took elective courses on dance history, Spanish, jazz music. I was into performing arts, so piano, etc. So I sort of formed my own university journey, so to speak, and that's a lot of freedom. That is also some responsibility, but that's the beauty of being a college student in a liberal arts college. In high school, many of the times you are accompanied when you study for a subject. The professor is, taking time to tell you how to do things step by step, etc. They monitor your learning, whereas in the university, you are on your own. So there is a lot of self-directed study. You have to learn how to learn. So fortunately, there are offices like Office of Learning and Teaching, like we have at Koç, who can tell you to teach you how to learn, how to study for math, how to study for physics, what do you do when you don't understand a subject, how to read in social sciences, how to memorize certain terms, etc. So you have to be able to seek help when you need, and then regulate yourself to be able to study as deeply and as long as you need to. In high school, the pace in terms of the progression of the courses is quite slow, but in university, it goes very fast. Every course in university like ours is for one semester. So in one semester, you take Introduction to Psychology, for example. And within the Introduction of Psychology, you take Developmental Psychology, you learn about Developmental Psychology, Cognitive Psychology, the brain, Clinical Psychology, everything is they're called survey courses. So you learn a little bit of everything, especially in the introductory courses in the core program. And then boom, in 3 months, the course is over. So you have to adjust a lot to that fast pace. And then if you don't do the requirements that you need to do, like solving problems or reading chapters, you're quite behind. So this is no joke. In high school, class sizes are relatively small. In the university, they can be small, medium, and large. Yesterday, I was in a class with my international students, and I said, what's the smallest class size you have? And then one student says, there were 9 of us in the Italian course. And then there were 100 of them in another course, which I don't remember. So when it's a smaller class size, then you can interact with the professor or your colleagues or your people on your cohort more easily. But if it's a large classroom, you can feel quite lost. You know, so you have to be very much focused, even though the focus is not on you as a student. Feel free to ask any questions, by the way, as I speak. There will be time at the end, I hope, but if you think of them before they fly out of your mind, feel free to ask. So in high schools, people who teach you are trained to teach. That's what they know best. In university, typically it's people who are scholars. That means they produce research. They teach 2 hours a day, for example, and then they go into their research laboratory and then do their research. And then they sit on their computer and then they publish articles. So you learn from people who are the active producers of science in your field. That is quite a difference. So there's the benefit of it because you benefit from the science, but then many university instructors are not trained in being a teacher, you know, so there are ups and downs of that system. In high school, the teaching is for the average learner, the one who learns fast, the one who learns slow, the one who learns, who grasps the subject quite quickly, etc. So they try to find an average so that everyone can follow. In the university, the faculty members may not necessarily slow down if you don't understand the subject. They can explain, they can answer your questions, but they'll still go fast. Because there's the syllabus, there's the there's a progression of the course that has to be over in 3 months and a half. So it's a so the requirements are up. It's quite, especially at Koç, it's quite rigorous. So you do have to pay a lot of attention in class, and you have to follow the instructor's pace and depth that they expect of you as you learn. In high school, attendance is monitored. In the university, it may be rewarded by the instructors. It may be required. So without attending, you can't pass the course. It may just be not required at all. So for situations where you're given a choice as the college student taking a particular course, you have to be very smart and think of the pluses and minuses. Oftentimes I see a lot of students, oh, if it's not mandatory, I'm just not going to do it. But then you still have to do some work to pass the course. So attending the classes are structuring your time, so to speak, so that you devote those 2 hours of that day to your class, so that you don't have to think about, okay, so how should I study math? You know, what should I do about it? Should I watch videos, etc.? So that requires more effort. So attending can help you learn. But again, it's the choice of the student. So you have to be very smart with your choices. In high schools, you typically start the high school with the same group of people. And then if you continue in the same high school, you probably graduate about the same, classes can mix from one year to the next, but it's pretty much, the same group of 100 or however many students that you start the high school with and then graduate with. In university, it's not like that. There is a cohort that enters the department on the same year as you are. Let's say you're all going to study media and visual arts for 4 years. If everyone follows the standard curriculum, there's a chance that you get you bump into the same people in different classes, but then there are classes that are taken by students from different departments, that brings a lot of diversity into the classroom. That is great. So we learn from people who think differently from you, who think more analytically than you, or they learn from you because you think more creatively. So that brings the diversity, but then you're not with the same people in all the classes that you go to. And some people follow different paces. They do double major programs, track programs, so they have other priorities. They take some courses during the summer, and if you don't, then you don't bump into them, etc. So the classroom is not as familiar as the high school classroom. In high school, the teachers are particularly interested in whether you got the material. You understood the material, that you can, recount the material that you were taught. So it's a transfer of knowledge. In the university, you are expected to use some skills. It could be engineering skills, it could be drawing skills based on whatever, or in nursing, it could be medical skills, and you have to demonstrate that you got those skills, especially in practical courses. Or you have to understand the knowledge, but then apply it to new cases. So your ability to apply them to new cases is assessed. So it's different modes of learning and different ways in which the instructors assess whether you reach the learning outcomes of the course. So in high school, the community is quite homogeneous. Homogeneous meaning, for example, there could be people coming from different socioeconomic statuses, but there wouldn't be maybe as many international students, there wouldn't be as many older students, etc. In the university, the community is more diverse. There are people from all around Turkey and all around different countries. As Melissa said, there are people from 80 plus countries in Koç. So it is quite a diverse community. Rarely there are students who already started studying in another institution and they transferred to Koç and they study their third and fourth years there, but they still have to take some introductory courses, for example. So that also diversifies the community. Of course, it's a community of adults. So certain aspects of diversity that may not be visible in high school would be visible in the university, such as people of diverse sexual orientation. There would be people who have certain disabilities. It's diverse in so many different ways, and that really, I think, helps students develop an understanding of differences, prejudices, stereotypes, etc., and make us more of a global citizen. In high school, as I previously said, there is some monitoring and there's some advocacy as you learn. So the professors, let's say the school counselor, for example, can notice that something that you would have a hard time learning a certain subject, and then they would meet with you, they would speak with your parents, etc. So you are pretty much monitored as a student. In the university, no. I get very surprised when I receive a phone call from a parent, because we don't communicate with parents in the university. You're expected to handle all the issues you have, financial, dorm-related, academic, psychological issues. You have to seek help yourself. And so you do have to seek those services. Oh, I need help with writing my CV. Who is giving that service? Oh, Career Center, so I should go there, etc. So you should be really aware of your own needs, and then seek support for them on your own. Write emails, be assertive, knock on doors to get support. And in high school, mainly the purpose of existence of a high school is educating you. Whereas in the university, yes, the university is geared towards educating students, but there's also a big research component that may or may not be visible to you based on your interests. You can work in a professor's research lab if you'd like to, but that's going alongside education. And then there's service. The university serves in different ways the outside campus. For example, the university can establish collaborations with entities in the business world to conduct research on artificial intelligence, for example, or they can collaborate with, for example, our university has a center for families of people with disabilities. So that center is funded by the university, and I think some EU projects, and then they serve the community, etc. So that's the purpose of the university. And as a student, you can take part in that service. You can take part in the research while getting education there. So there's more than classroom, much more than classroom teaching in university. More differences. So in high school, you just have to pass the course, and in university, you have to pass the course with a certain GPA and the grade point average. So the GPA is needed for graduation. Other levels of GPA are needed for you to be able to apply to an exchange program, a track program, a double major program, a minor program. So your success is important based on what you seek to achieve. Talking about life, your living conditions in the university, you are now an adult, so you have to take care of your household chores, you have to clean up your living space, whether a small dorm room or an apartment. You have to do your own shopping, you have to monitor your own budget. Whether you have, for example, a limited scholarship, you should be careful about how you spend it, where to spend it, etc. And in high school, no one monitors your behavior saying, oh, you shouldn't do this or you should do that. In high school, that's how it works. But in university, you're responsible for your behavior. So if you harass someone, if you plagiarize, commit academic dishonesty, issue crimes, etc., then you have to bear the consequences. So that is what's expected of you as a university citizen. Okay, so those are mainly the differences. I can imagine it might be intimidating, but it's a great opportunity for growth. The first year of university, especially, it's a great opportunity for you to get to know yourself, because the more choices you have, the more you get to know yourself. You have to get to ask questions about, what should I wear today? Or how should I spend my money on? Or which course should I take? Or who should I befriend? Or which club do I need to, would I like to attend? So that the more questions you ask yourself, the more you get to discover about yourself. So I think that's a great journey. Let's continue. So regarding university, as you can foresee so far, what is exciting you the most? And what do you think will challenge you the most? So Ashfaq, Blanca, I see Didem is here, Nanda, Perihan. Can you type in your ideas, your answers to these questions on the chat box? Oh, I think Nada raised her hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Nada, you can talk now if you want. If you want to say your ideas instead of typing, that's okay.
We can't hear you yet.
Okay.
Okay, well, maybe later.
Yeah. Nada, can you try to type your thoughts on the chat? If you tap on your screen, you should be able to see an icon for chat, so you can do that there.
All right. So, the skills that you would need in the university, everyone comes to the university with a different skill set. Maybe you've already been tested about time management. For example, when I was a high school student, I was also working at the same time. So I had to manage my time well to spend enough time studying and doing work-related stuff. But some other skills, I may not have really used them before I came to college. You may never have had to use a calendar, for example, an agenda for a time planner, or you may never have had much thought about how to manage your stress, or you may not be aware of it. So that's why it's important to be aware of what level you are when it comes to these type of skills and what you need to improve the most in college life. Let's see. Oh, the chat was disabled. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just noticed that from some of the participants. Thank you for letting us know. We were not aware of that. Let me check
Thank you.
in the settings, where can we? Okay, should be working now.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
Nada, I think you were trying to put some thoughts into the chat, so I think you should be able to do that now.
Right. So the time management is a big issue. As I said, your schedule might be different from Monday to Tuesday, and it's important to be aware of how to spend your time. So for a lot of students, coming to college is the time for freedom. You know, freedom to get to bed whenever you want, freedom to go socialize however many times a week you want, to go to concerts, panels, parties, by student clubs, etc. So I see a lot of students getting lost when they're during their first year in college. There are just so many they want to do. They join 10 different clubs, and they think it's okay not to work for the first few weeks of classes, whereas you know, time is a valuable but limited resource, so it's important to be aware of how we spend time in college. So for that, I think it would be goal setting is very much related to it. What do you achieve? What do you aim to achieve in the first year of college? Do you have a GPA goal? Do you have a socializing goal? Have you always wanted to start playing the violin in the first year of college? What goal setting is very important, and then planning based on your goals would be very important, just to achieve in classes as well, but also to organize your social life. Self-discipline is important because, as I said, learning is not monitored, you're on your own. You can team up with people. That would be a good strategy to motivate each other for studying, but otherwise you're pretty much have to discipline yourself to study. You know, with the intrusion of social media, of our phones, of all the notifications, it's important to remain focused, but university does require focus. So it's important to learn how to manage technology as well. Resourcefulness, as I said, it's important to be aware of what services are offered to you. Melissa just summarized the services offered to first-year students. It's important to knock on doors, browse the resources online, and seek help. Managing stress, that is quite an issue, especially in universities that are demanding academically. So you should really be aware of your own well-being practices. What do you do to remain well? For example, are you physically active? Or are you sleeping enough? Or are you eating healthily? Because a lot of people who leave their parents' house, you know, they have to take care of their own cooking, or they have to purchase food to eat. And then they realize that they don't eat healthy very much, or they don't eat to their standards. Like, let's say they'd like to be a vegetarian or a vegan, but then that's not how they eat, etc. Or they'd like to maintain a certain weight, and then they don't eat like that. So many people get lost with healthy living habits on campus when they first get in. But it's important to regulate yourself in those aspects as well. Finals periods can be stressful. You know, if you're on a competition or a performance team of a performing arts club, for example, you have to manage the courses at the same time as rehearsing for the performances, then stress might be an issue. Communication is key in the university. A lot of times your professors will require you to interact with other people, to do projects together, presentations together, to think together, to share in classroom. So you would need to communicate verbally, in written format, with different university counterparts. You will learn how to write an email. That's key for both academic and professional life. And that is quite a key component. Cross-cultural communication is another component for people who are from diverse background. Adaptation to change. So there are a lot of changes, as I said in the beginning, when you come to college. So it's important to use those skills, you know, not be rigid, being open to embrace new differences, test yourself, challenge yourself, as opposed to just closing up and trying to remain the same. I think I fell into that trap when I was an exchange student at Boston University. I said, oh, I'm going to maintain my own habits. I'm not going to adapt to this new culture, which is neither impossible nor necessary to be that rigid. So it's important to loosen, open up and learn, and you can adapt to a new culture while maintaining your own values anyways. Teamwork is very much required. A lot of different courses ask you to do teamwork. Sometimes they assign the team, sometimes you select your own team. And whatever profession you pursue, pretty much you will need to do teamwork. So that's a key skill. Critical thinking, there would be courses that will require you to develop that skill. Psychological resilience, you know, you will be facing difficulties, you will get low grades. You will be undergoing friendship or relationship issues, and resilience would be key. And cultural sensitivity, cultural competence is another skill because as I said, the university is very diverse in different ways. People with different backgrounds, different accents, different religions, different worldviews. It's all very diverse, so it will be very important to be able to communicate with people who are different from you. So the heterogeneity helps you grow in a diverse institution. Okay. So, how to prepare for the university mindset? So it's the first year will definitely be a very rewarding one, at the same time a very challenging one. So it's important to you know, you can focus on your success, but it's important to be aware that you're in a journey and you're there to learn from your experiences, which can be bitter at times. So think of your failures, things that you define as failures, as growth opportunities. How you're going to, what you learned from them, and how you're going to move forward with them. This is both in clubs and friendships or relationships or courses. You don't have to do everything in the first year. So again, this is one mistake that I see. I want to take all the courses I want in my first year. I want to do this. I want to maintain a high GPA. I also would like to do volunteer work. I would like to join 10 clubs, etc. So there's time. So I would say, you know, start slowly, try to adjust, try to survive, and then add on to it. Keep an open mind for diversity, as I said earlier. And you will find your place. So a lot of times when you look, you know, as an outsider in your first days or weeks in college, you might think, these people are not like me. You know, they're not curious about the same things as I am. They're not, they don't care about world issues, for example, like I do. They don't, they're not intellectual. You know, whatever you might think that's not like you. But the university is, the community is so diverse in different ways that you will find your niche. It's important just to remain open and not say, oh, these people are not like me. Oh, I can't be friends with them. It's important to be open-minded, keep searching for people who are of similar interests, or take your own initiative to start a new thing. On campus, like a new club, or suggest a new course to be offered, organize an event. This week in my ballet class, a student came and said, well, why don't we organize a conference about ballet? We can invite speakers. We also have a lot of resources on campus. So it's important to see yourself as an active member of the university and not be just a receiver of information or of resources, of opportunities, but be actively offering something back to the university, instead of being one of the 1,000 people who were admitted that, well, now it's 1,500 people admitted to the university and then leaving 4 years later. You know, what are you going to add to the university? What are you going to offer? I think it's a good time to start thinking about that too. Be mindful of your prejudices. So you will be coming to a different country, and it's important to be aware of your own prejudices. of Turkish people, of people who live in this part of the world, of people who are in this religion, etc., etc., and be mindful of your prejudices against people who are different from you in different ways. So again, the university is a place to open up, to ask, to learn, to sit next to someone who's very different from you. And while you maintain your own values, it's always very valuable to learn about how different people think, act, feel. Believe that you can succeed. So many students, especially high achievers, can be discouraged in the first year of college, saying, well, how am I going to thrive in this situation with this many challenges? I remember receiving back my paper on an ethics course in grad school. And the professor wrote really nice things on top of the assignment. It was a minor assignment, not a midterm or final. And she said good things about, I don't know what it was, but it was good things about my work. And I remember starting crying and calling my mom saying, I can do this. You know, the professor appreciated my work. And because I was so afraid that I wasn't gonna make it as well as I used to in college. So it's important that you believe that you can succeed, because if people didn't think you would succeed, you wouldn't be admitted in the first place. So there will be ways, but it will be more challenging, and you would need to use more skills or different skills than you did in high school. Challenges need to be expected. It can be, for an international student, I had one coming from a very warm and humid country. And here the weather seemed so different to her. And she had a very hard time adjusting to the climate. So you can, for example, the challenge I experienced when I went abroad was food. I had a very hard time finding the kind of food that I want at an affordable price. And I never expected that to be an issue. So you can be challenged in ways that you expect or don't expect. So those will happen, but it's a journey and you will learn to grow. And fun versus responsibilities. So balance is quite an important thing in the first months of college. Balancing responsibilities and balancing fun, balancing relationships and balancing club work, etc. And the skills that we discussed earlier will help you with that. I see someone wrote in the chat.
Yes, so Blanca offered her thoughts. Thank you very much, Blanca.
One of the most interesting things about starting in Koç is that it's in another country, and the fact that it will be challenging, it's what I'm most excited the most. And the most challenging is that could be hard at first, because we all don't have the same culture and the culture shocks I could have. Yes, yes, fortunately, oops, I can't make this disappear. Fortunately, new international students are assigned buddies by the International Community Office, and you would have an opportunity to ask someone who underwent similar challenges with you. And you will, of course, make other friends, and there will be staff members to support you. And everyone goes through the culture shock in different pace with different difficulties and challenges. So, you know, we expect these things to happen, but there's also ways of healing and adjusting. So let me see. I'm trying to make a screen disappear, the chat screen disappear from my computer, but I can't. Give me a moment. Let's see what I can do. Can you see and hear me okay still?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, okay, well, I'll try to keep presenting with the screen in front of me.
Okay. There should be a close button. Sometimes it may switch and it be at the bottom of your screen somehow. It happens. So
yeah, let me see here. It doesn't work. Can we do this? So I think you do have the continuation of the presentation, right, Melissa?
yes. Yeah.
Can you stop me from sharing?
Yes.
Because I can't right now.
Of
And
course.
then you share, and then let's see if I can continue that way.
Of course. Let me do that 1 second. I need to.
Oh, it's working. It's working.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. So, how to prepare for university? I think once you know which university you'll be attending, it's important to start doing some research about what you're going to expect. So check the curriculum, check the department, check the staff members, who's going to be your faculty members, who's going to be your advisor, what is the faculty members' research area? You know, what are they? What labs do they have, as much as you can understand with the level of knowledge that you now have. Be aware of opportunities. University is full of opportunities, especially Koç. About 1/4 of students are pursuing double major programs. I'm sure many do minor and track opportunities. It will be good to check them, and it will also be good to check the requirements for them. Let's say you'd like to go for an exchange program in Spain in your second year, and then it's important to know that that university requires basic Spanish so that you start learning in your first year. Or it's important to know, if you'd like to pursue double major, it's important to know the minimum GPA you need to have in order to be there when you are ready to apply. I would follow the student club's social media accounts. They're very active on there, both visual clubs and non-visual clubs. That would be very interesting to do, because then you would know, what to seek when you come here. Good to know about the services. They're typically under the Dean of Students, the services for students, like counseling, career services for people with disabilities, international programs. Our program, for example, they're all under the Dean of Students, and it has its own website. So I would recommend that you have a look at it. Talk to current students, maybe from your countries, to see what to expect. Try to see if there are courses that are in the areas that you're interested in that you never got a chance to learn in your previous institutions. And of course, learn about Turkey. The culture, what's happening, there are a lot happening right now. Politically too, we have an upcoming election. So it will be good to be aware of, so that you can take part in the chats among students in the dining hall, for example. It's good to know what's happening. How much time do we have, Melissa? Are we up?
We should be able to continue until you finish, don't worry.
We're all set?
We can continue until you finish. That's okay.
Oh,
We have
okay,
10
okay.
minutes, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. To start, when you come to campus, it's good to have a calendar, because as you enter the classes, professors will say, well, the first assignment is due on this date, the first midterm is on that date, etc. So it's important to fill up your agenda, or same thing for clubs, or the concert is on this day, etc. It could be an electronic calendar. You can prepare a Google Calendar, for example. Those would help. Setting a goal for your first year, at least for your first term, for your first semester at Koç, as I said, it's important. Prioritizing so that you don't find yourself burning out when you first come. Maintaining your well-being is very important. A lot of times students say, well, I want to live more and sleep less, but that's not unfortunately not possible with the requirements of the human body. So it's important to maintain that. A lot of you probably have some ways of maintaining your well-being in your own countries right now. Let's see how many of them can you transfer. Let's say you like walking, and try to see if you can walk on campus. Let's say you like to do art, try to see if you can do that on campus, etc. So those can still serve as good tools to maintain your well-being and be intellectually and physically stimulated. Have your questions ready. It's always ask questions in your first week. Even the most stupid questions. I had students asking me where the restroom is. It's okay, the adjustment is hard. It can be panicking, and panic doesn't help you to think clearly. So always be open to asking questions. I think the academic and staff members in this university are pretty responsive to student questions. especially over email. So I would very much recommend you to ask questions. Okay. So here are the things that you can think about. How can you contribute to the university community? As I said, what are you going to offer? Can be your experiences, your worldview. You can recommend a book to a friend. You will add your color to the university life as Koç. And sharing about yourself or your culture, your areas of interest, your talent, your curiosity, your empathy. Think of how you can contribute to other people when you come here. And it would be good to start thinking and learning about basic life skills. You know, what are you going to cook when you come? You know, how is laundry done? How much money do you envision to have, and how do you think you should spend it? You know, you can make an Excel sheet about how to spend your money, etc. You can learn them, but since we have this workshop and you have time to think about it, why not do some prep about it? I would very much recommend that you attend the reorientation, orientation activities that will be offered to you. That is a good sort of transition activity. We call them rites of passage. So, you know, starting, you know, imagine yourself sitting like students are right now, are on that picture, and, you know, you're starting a journey together, and you're not alone. There are 1,500 more people who are undergoing very similar challenges as you are. So it's good to begin together and feel that energy, as opposed to just coming on campus in the first day of classes and not knowing where to go. Someone mentioned culture shock in the chat box. So if you plan on going back to your country on every single break, the adjustment might be harder because you suffer, you suffer different challenges when you come in and say, oh, in the break, I'm going to go to my home country. And then you go, and then you're reset, and then you come back and you say, oh, okay, still have to face the same thing. So my own anecdote about that is, in between my 2 years of master's in the US, I was planning on going home, spending time with my family over the summer vacation, etc. And I was still suffering the culture shock by the end of the second semester. I secured an internship at the United Nations. So that was 2 months. And then before, it turned out that I have to take summer classes to be able to finish the master's program in 2 years, because it was quite a rigorous program. So 2 months of classes, 2 months of full-time internship, 4 months, summer is gone. So I had to stay there I went home in May for like a week or 10 days, and then returned and stayed there 7 months straight. That's when I adjusted. So instead of sort of running back to our own country, it's good to stay and, you know, really experience the country, because when there are no classes, then you have more time to discover Istanbul, the city of the university that you will go in. And there's, you know, then you can just be a new member of the city in addition to the university. So I would recommend now that you go on futureme.org. It's not a website affiliated with Koç, and write yourself a letter that you would send to yourself that would fall into your mailbox on October 2nd, and that's the first day of classes at Koç. What would you like to remind yourself based on what you learned now? And what would you like to set yourself up for when you first start college? Because it's going to be a lot of excitement. And today I shared some humble words of wisdom. So what would you like to set your mind up for when you first join us on campus? You don't have to log in for this website. You can just write the letter, put in your email address, and then choose the date.
Thank you so much, Pınar. I've sent the letter to myself using that website after you showed us that page, and it's great. I recommend it to everyone. So yeah. So We've made it to almost just in time, which is a great thing always. I want to thank every one of you who has joined us today and all of you who will be watching this later. If you want to keep in touch after today and you want to find out more information about all of the great services that are offered to university students at Koç, including international students, you can visit our website, which you can see on screen. It's international.ku.edu.tr. If you have any questions along the way, if you're thinking about applying, if you have already applied, or if you have even already received an offer, congratulations about that. You can contact us via email. We're always happy to answer questions via email, and we're also, of course, on social media. This workshop today, we are going to be posting it on our YouTube channel, which is, if you just type Koç University International Admissions, you will find it. I invite you to subscribe to the channel because we will be putting more interesting, useful videos as you go along in your journey to become a university student. So with that, we're going to wrap up for today. I want to thank Pınar again for her time and always like great energy and wisdom. I'm really jealous of your students who get to kind of get the full, the full wisdom package each semester. So thank you so much again. And to all of you, I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Today, it's a Friday, and a great journey towards your university life. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.